All right, this is episode 10 of the Battle of Ohio podcast. Bengals and Browns coming off the bye week, and they're ready to tear up the second half of their schedule, looking to make some progress in the AFC North. You know what? I feel like I'm saying this most weeks, but even though they won, the Steelers still suck.
Yeah, they suck. They still win, but they suck. But somehow they still win.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Battle of Ohio podcast, where we follow the revival of the historic rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll talk about my feelings about that. The fact that they just keep winning, and especially one this week. We'll talk about that coming up here in a second. But for now, let's go ahead and just get it started like we always do. What are you drinking today, Thomas?
Well, aside from my hot tea, today I'm drinking Amstel Light. Yes, that's right. I hate myself this morning, so I'm drinking Amstel Light.
Amstel Light. I feel like Amstel Light. I mean, it's been a while since I've had an Amstel Light, but I feel like Amstel Light is pretty good. Like, am I wrong about that?
I haven't had Amstel Light since the 1960s.
1960s. Wow. And then you were born in 1994. So
yep,
that's impressive. That's impressive.
Yeah, I know.
I am drinking a St. Archer Gold. And I don't really know anything about it. So we're going to find out today. Actually, we're going to find out right now. Are you good? Let's find out. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. St. Archer Gold, pretty good. It's I wouldn't say it's like, the most exciting beer of all time, but it's nice and crisp. And, if I'm going to be morning drinking, I might as well be morning drinking something that's light and crisp.
Yeah, I'm going to work after this, so I might as well get drunk before I go to work, right?
There you go. Don't drink and drive, people.
Yeah, don't drink and drive, people.
Anyway, let's go ahead and get to the point of what this podcast is all about. The Bengals and Browns, like I said, are coming off the bye week, and really the main story to talk about in this episode, just because, there's no games, there's no recaps to talk about as far as the Bengals and Browns are concerned. So it's really just about how are they looking coming off the bye. There's both teams have some injuries that they're particularly looking at, and unfortunately enough, they're also looking at recovering from some COVID issues that popped up over the bye week. So Bengals and Browns finding a way to lose even on the bye week.
I know, man. The Browns lost their playoff spot over the bye week. So
the Browns lost their playoff spot too. But
I mean, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. You got 5
far behind. I wouldn't worry about that too much. Browns are absolutely still in the hunt.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine, Browns fans. Everybody relax. They'll be fine. Trust me, they'll be fine.
So I guess
they'll be fine.
The thing I want to point out about the Browns and really talk about as far as this bye week episode is concerned is Baker Mayfield. We talk a lot about Baker Mayfield and what he means to this Browns team and what, how much he needs to have success for this Browns team to have success and what his, potential future with the Browns looks like. But this week, I actually saw I was picking up a punching bag from Dick's, and I saw on the TV it said Baker Mayfield is being put on the COVID list, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what's going on there, Thomas?
So Baker Mayfield was in contact with a employee in the Cleveland facility that had COVID. Currently, Cleveland is the COVID capital of Ohio. There are more COVID cases in Cleveland than there is in either area in Ohio, I believe. So Baker Mayfield came in contact with an employee who tested positive for COVID. Now, Baker Mayfield this morning has tested negative for COVID, and if he tests negative again for COVID, then he will be good to practice by Wednesday. which means that Baker Mayfield should be fine and ready to go by Sunday. Nobody thinks he has COVID. He should be fine. So we're just going to wait for those tests to come back negative, and then we be ready to go against the Texans. So that's that pretty much.
Seems like if you're going to deal with this issue at all during the season, it might as well be during the bye week.
Yeah. It's not as big. It's not as big of a deal as it's precautionary measures.
It's not good that Baker Mayfield came in contact with someone on the team who has COVID, but it's like I said, it might as well happen on the bye week when you have, basically, potentially up to 2 weeks to actually recover and get back into position. And you're right, Baker hasn't tested positive yet. So if he continues to not test positive, then I don't think the Browns are going to have any issue. The Bengals did actually have a couple positive tests, which was not good for Bengals fans to hear over this week because Bengals fans are used to even during like I said earlier, even during the bye week we find a way to lose. But I will say the two guys. I haven't. This isn't officially confirmed because I don't think they actually released the test results. But there was a story that came out a couple days ago that said 2 Bengals players tested positive for COVID, and then the next day, Fred Johnson, Bengals backup offensive tackle / guard / whatever, and Trey Waynes, the Bengals, I think supposed to be starting cornerback who hasn't played all year, who we just signed from the Vikings. They both went on the COVID list. So I think it's a pretty good, it's pretty easy jump to make that those were the 2 guys who tested positive because that wouldn't really make any sense otherwise. So as far as Trey Waynes is considered, I obviously hope the best for the guy and hope that he doesn't have any serious COVID symptoms or anybody in his family gets sick or anything like that. But as far as the Bengals are concerned, dude's not playing anyway. So, and he's not really, I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's probably not coming in contact with a whole lot of people and he's not playing. So it's just kind of like, if it was going to be anybody from the Bengals perspective, it might as well be somebody who isn't really doing a whole lot anyway. And then there's Fred Johnson, which is kind of a problem because our offensive line is already dealing with so many injury problems and he's a backup, but we kind of need our backups right now. So that is that's what's going on with the Bengals and COVID. But at least as far as the offensive line is considered, there's also there's also some injury problems that have kind of been popping up. We're hoping to get Bobby Hart back after the bye. I haven't heard any word yet on if that's actually happening or not. But if we do get Bobby Hart back, then Fred Johnson not being here is less consequential. I mean, we still want him here. We still want him being, backing up Bobby Hart in case something happens. But he probably wouldn't be playing anyway if Bobby Hart's in. And then if Jonah Williams still being out, you probably got Hakeem Adeniji over there on that side. And then we got Quentin Spain looked really good at guard. And also we're potentially getting Xavier Su'a-Filo back anyway. So I don't know if there would be too much opportunity for for Fred Johnson to start if Bobby Hart comes back.
Huh. Okay.
So there's also some potentially good news on the injury front for the Browns. I know
Nick Chubb coming back.
Well, yeah, that's what I've heard. I haven't heard any official statements saying that Nick Chubb is definitely coming back, but that's what I've heard this whole time is he's expected to come back after the bye. And I also heard y'all are getting most likely getting Austin Hooper back, so there's 2 more weapons for Baker.
Yeah, Austin Hooper, and which means that we're gonna have our we're gonna still have that offense that everybody's looking for even without Odell Beckham, there's still so many options for Baker Mayfield. You still have Kareem Hunt, still have Nick Chubb, still have Jarvis Landry, still have Austin Hooper, still have David Njoku, still have Harrison Bryant, you have so many options. So like your excuse cannot be Odell Beckham being gone. Your excuse cannot be Odell Beckham. Like Cleveland, if your excuse at the end of the season that we did not make playoffs is because of Odell Beckham, that's not the excuse. Just saying. Like there's so many weapons this guy has. So many weapons. The only thing that we're going to miss is probably Wyatt Teller because he doesn't look like he's going to be back anytime soon.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about Wyatt Teller because he's such a key, seems to be such a key pivotal role for your offensive line.
Yeah. He was the best. He was one of the best offensive linemen in the league at the first 4 games of the season, and then he got hurt during that Bengals game.
Well, that's going to be interesting without him there, and we saw what the Browns' offense looked like last week. But then again, if y'all do get Nick Chubb and Austin Hooper back, that could go a long way towards the Browns kind of like putting their offense back together, and it would still kind of suck to not have Wyatt Teller in there, but at least we got some weapons back. And losing Odell Beckham Jr., as we already talked about in a previous episode, may not be the worst thing in the world. I mean, it seems weird to say because he's such a talented receiver, but it almost kind of seems like Baker plays better without him most of the time.
He spreads his options more. And last week's game, like, there's a video going around the internet, going around YouTube. 2 of the best throws. It's literally titled 2 of the best throws I ever seen Baker Mayfield, or 2 of the best throws I ever seen in my life. It's just an exaggeration. Exaggeration. But there's 2 throws where Baker Mayfield, basically Jarvis Landry caused Baker Mayfield 2 touchdowns last week. And I love Jarvis. I'm a big fan of Jarvis Landry. You're probably one of my favorite players on the Browns. But the reality is he dropped 2 key passes last week that probably could have changed the momentum of the game, possibly won the game. So, it's interesting, that philosophy. Baker Mayfield didn't play a bad game yesterday, so we're gonna see how he plays. We're gonna see how he plays. He's gonna see how he plays this week against the Texans, who have depleted defense. They obviously have J.J. Watt, who's always a problem, but he's gonna feel that extra energy with his buddy Nick Chubb back, and it's about to get real. And they need this win. The Browns are gonna play desperate, so it's gonna be a good game for them next week.
So, I have a question for you, Thomas.
I got an answer.
I sure hope so. So, Rashard Higgins, right?
Yes.
Would you say he's the Browns' number 1 receiver now without Odell?
No, it's definitely Jarvis.
Oh yeah, Jarvis, and then you got Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's kind of making. So I've been thinking about picking up Rashard Higgins because as far as wide receiver goes, my fantasy team is decimated. Like just
pick up.
I actually won this week. I can't believe I won this week, but I did it. But regardless, I'm worried about going forward because I have no receivers left. I'm starting Trent Taylor from San Francisco right now. So my question is, do you think Rashard Higgins would be a worthwhile pickup? Do you think he's going to produce enough for the Browns going forward? Or is it just mainly going to go to Jarvis Landry, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Austin Hooper, and then you got Nick Chubb and is Kareem Hunt?
No. Higgins and Mayfield has a really good relationship, and Higgins is like one of Mayfield's favorite options when it comes to throwing to the end zone.
Okay.
I'm trying to look at the weather for this weekend. But depending on the weather, I'll probably pick him up. But you probably get a touchdown or 2 out of him, though.
Okay.
I think I'll pick him up. Like, you're probably more likely to get a touchdown out of him than you would probably Jarvis. I would go for it. Like, if you need receivers, you're that desperate, I'll go for it.
There you go. Fantasy advice from Thomas Stargell, fantasy expert on the Battle of Ohio podcast. Don't listen to me for fantasy advice because I'm not actually not doing too bad this year. But I've got another team that's like 3-5 on the year, so But anyway, Thomas knows all about the Browns, and he says Rashard Higgins good. So Rashard Higgins good.
He might give you a touchdown. Yeah. What is it? What? Let me see. I'm trying to look at the weather for next weekend. It's supposed to be rainy with 20 degrees. Oh no. Yeah, you should be fine. You should be fine Sunday. Yeah, the weather's not terrible. It's not like last weekend where it was 50-mile-per-hour winds and it was 15 degrees outside. It was just horrible. Just horrible weather. Just horrible weather. Just horrible weather.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I mentioned something earlier about that Browns offense not looking very good last week. But then again, there was also plenty of reasons why there was problems. But at the same time, the Raiders managed to put up 16 points. So
they had their starter running back. So
next man.
Kareem Hunt. He should have been. Kareem Hunt should have been better than that weather.
Next man up.
So
that's what our coach Zach Taylor's always saying, and it's been working on offensive line so far. Actually, I was kind of wondering. It's like, should the Bengals, because the Bengals have some guys coming back from injury at some point. I think Bobby Hart's supposed to come back soon. I don't know exactly when. Trey Hopkins, I don't think is supposed to be out for forever. Jonah Williams, I know, is supposed to come back at some point. So I'm kind of at a loss here about what the Bengals need to do with this offensive line, because like they look great now against Tennessee, which, take that with a grain of salt, take that for what you will. But they looked great playing almost all backups. So it's like, should we just keep some of these backups in? I know Quentin Spain earned himself a spot. But Bobby Hart looked good before going out, and I don't really think he got outperformed by his backup. I think the offensive line as a whole outperformed, but and Xavier Su'a-Filo's coming back. He looked pretty good before he got hurt. But like I said, now we got Quentin Spain. We got a lot more options at that guard position. So I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of like I said, that next man up mentality with the Bengals, and that Zach Taylor's really trying to instill. And in some cases, it's really, really, really working. Earlier this year, I gave the underrated player of the week award to Xavier Williams, who we literally just signed off the street. So it's like, these guys are coming in and playing their hearts out, even though there's really no guarantee that they're going to get reps going forward when these starters come back, and because the starters are playing really well. So it's just like, it's in the NFL, you can lose your job to injury. We know that, but you lose your job to injury if you're also playing well. Is that going to happen?
Well, one thing another thing in the NFL is like when you have the next man up mentality, it's like when the next man is actually better than the original starter, you got to go with the next man. You got to put that starter back on the bench. You're like, I'm sorry, dude. That's what happened to Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick came in and they were like, oh, we like this guy better. Ooh, did I mean to? I shouldn't bring that up. My bad. Anyway, let's just ignore that I said that, by the way, because I don't want to hear.
Well, that wasn't a political statement. That was, Colin Kaepernick at the time outperformed Alex Smith from a football perspective. That's all we're saying there. You can say whatever you want.
That's all we're saying. That's all we are saying. Right. Do not go looking at my Twitter history
of what happened at the time. And you can't deny that at the time Colin Kaepernick looked better than Alex Smith.
He did. He led them to a Super Bowl. These are facts.
Right.
That's it. That's all we're going to say about that. Anyway, okay. All right. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Well, there's no need to go down any sort of. This is a football podcast, and we're not going to talk
football,
politics,
football,
or anything like that.
Football. I know what you're thinking. Football.
Here, Madden.
He leads football. I can't believe he would vote. I can't believe he would vote for football. I voted for football. Okay. So anyway, Zach Taylor.
Okay, Zach Taylor.
One thing I love about Zach Taylor is Zach Taylor. He does a great job of I said this like the first podcast or the second. I said it the first. I think I said this the game after the Eagles game or the first game y'all won. I said that Zach Taylor's doing a good job of disguising the holes in the offensive line by using shifts. He's using rollouts. He's doing different things to allow Joe Burrow to have more passing time and to release quickly. And he's putting players in position and his receivers in positions for quick releases, so he can disguise the inefficiencies of the offensive line. He's getting better at that in front of our eyes. So we're literally seeing a coach grow and the players grow at the same time. It's actually really exciting. Kind of prepare us all for this great upset that's about to happen this week. You better have an upset this week. Upset alert.
I'm not necessarily going to disagree with you on that one, but we'll save that for the next episode because that's really meant for the next episode. That's why we're not really that's why we're kind of jumping around different topics in this particular episode because we don't really have any games to recap. We don't really have any games to look forward to because this isn't the preview episode. So like we're not doing underrated players of the week this week because obviously there's no players to talk about. Like we did underrated players of the midseason point last episode. And we don't really have any underrated players to talk about this episode because there were no Bengals and Browns players to have played the past week. So,
my underrated player is Garrett Gilbert.
Well,
AAF MVP.
Garrett Gilbert definitely looked. Garrett Gilbert looked fantastic.
Yeah, he looked great, man. Start for the rest of the season, make the playoffs, Cowboys. What they got to lose? Like
As much as I want to pound the table for my boy Andy Dalton, man, it's gonna be pretty hard to justify it because like Garrett Gilbert had that offense. You know, we'll talk about this in the predictions video later. That's actually another thing that we're changing up for this episode. We are going to be doing our predictions portion, but we're going to be doing that in a separate video this week. Just so we can focus more so on the actual podcast itself and like the Bengals and Browns and make the podcast itself more about the Bengals and Browns instead of spending 40 minutes talking about the other teams. But we will be doing it. We'll just be doing it in a different video. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at the state of the AFC North,
okay.
Which is not looking great for the Bengals and Browns. It was not a good bye week for the Bengals and Browns. Both the Steelers and Ravens won. And the Ravens earned that win. You know, they generally. I mean, there was a couple of points early on where it was looking like, well, maybe the Colts can kind of turn this into a game. Maybe the Colts can steal a win here from the Ravens. But by the end of the game, like I said, it ended 24-10, and I think the Ravens showed that while I think the Ravens for the most part this year have really showed that they are a vulnerable, beatable team. I think against the Colts this week, they showed that, you still better take them seriously because even if Lamar Jackson doesn't play the best game he's ever had before, the Ravens still have enough pieces where they can beat you if you don't, really bring your A game.
Yeah, that's exactly what the Ravens prove is that you can they could win without Lamar Jackson playing his best game, and that's something that I question and that they proven. So like you said, they're not as vulnerable as they looked the last couple of weeks.
Right. But you know who brought their A game this week? The Dallas Cowboys. You know who should have won that game? The Dallas Cowboys. This fake-ass, undefeated Steelers team has beaten a couple of good teams, in fairness, but they play down to their opponents so much. They got every time they play an opponent that ain't worth nothing, they barely beat them at the very end. Man, they were losing to the Cowboys for a significant portion of this game, and it took some of the most ridiculous ticky-tack penalty calls I've ever seen from the refs just consistently on one single drive. What do we have? Like at first, there was the Steelers had a false start on a field goal that erased a missed kick by Chris Boswell. And in fairness, that is the correct call. It was a false start, so dead play, no play, and he gets another try. He gets that try and he makes it. But oh my, are you kidding me? Like the Steelers just get every single possible lucky break they possibly can from these refs. And you know what? If the Steelers are out there paying the refs, I'm here to tell you right now that I will give up my loyalties and do it for half the price that these refs are doing. What are you paying them? Pay me half of what you're paying them, and I'll be more than happy to call these calls for you guys. Well, I wouldn't be happy, but I'll do it. I'm so sick and tired of seeing the Steelers just like act like there's some hot shit every single week, and they don't get calls like that every single week, but they get more calls like that than I've seen from any team in the history of ever. And the refs are just out there looking like. Here's the thing: there were plenty of calls, there were plenty of penalties in this game, and I don't know if I really saw a penalty that there was the unnecessary roughness call on, I believe, Randy Gregory, may have been somebody else. But or roughing the passer is what it was. That I was like, I don't know about that. I mean, like he put his hand on his face mask, but he didn't really do anything to him. So it was technically the right call, but it was like come on, dude. Like, are we really gonna call that one?
That's hilarious. You know what I mean? Like honestly, like I'm not gonna hate too much about it because the reality is the Browns played the Steelers week 17. So if the Steelers keep winning, by week 17, they don't need to win at all. They can rest their starters, and the Browns get an automatic win. So go ahead and keep winning Steelers. It's good for me anyway. So go ahead. You might as well keep winning at this point.
Look,
so I don't care at this point.
Winning these games.
Give me that win. I need that week 17 win.
This is the most fake-ass 8-0 team I've ever seen in my life, except for maybe when the Bengals went 8-0. That was pretty fake. But point being that, like I said, the Steelers' missed field goal was erased by this, false start call. That was a problem of the Steelers, and then they benefited from the false start call. Dallas had a fumble recovery against the Steelers late in the game that was undone, like I said, by a ticky-tack illegal contact penalty, followed up by a completely unnecessary roughness penalty that took the Steelers from their own 47 to field goal range with basically them not having to do anything. And if you take away those, I know those all those penalties led to only field goals and not touchdowns, but if you take away those 2 field goals that really shouldn't have happened, or very easily couldn't have happened, rather, maybe like I said, it was always technically, yes, that was against the rules, and that was, the correct call to make as far as the law of the rule book is concerned. But you don't see these kind of calls being made half the time at the end of games because refs generally let the players play.
So, Kyle, what are you saying? Are you telling me that the Steelers still suck?
I'm telling you that the Steelers still suck. The Steelers sucked against the Dallas Cowboys. If you take away those 2 field goals, then the Steelers lose 19-18.
That's all.
Against the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm joking.
Look,
I'm joking. But that would have been a perfect time to drop the mic and just walk.
I've ever seen in my entire life, and I don't know how you Steelers fans can be proud of this team right now. I mean, be proud. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong. They're a good team that can beat anybody, obviously. But they're beating mostly a bunch of nobodies, and they are dragging ass the entire time doing it. Like, at no point was I confident that the Steelers were definitely going to win any of these games that they keep winning against these awful teams. Like, I don't know how, it's so Mike Tomlin of this Steelers era to be playing down to their opponents like this. And I don't know how they constantly get away with it so much. It infuriates me.
They don't play nobody hard for the rest of the season either, too. Like, they got
so they're gonna finish. They're not gonna finish undefeated because my Bengals going to beat them this coming week. But again, we'll talk about that more in the upcoming episode because that's when we do the predictions.
They're gonna beat the Bills. The Bills, they're gonna beat the Colts. They're probably gonna finish undefeated. They don't play the Chiefs, and the Patriots are the Patriots. So
Well, they're going to lose to us, so.
I mean, they're going to, well, yeah. But I think I'm just hoping that they win every single game here on out and then lose to us week 17 because they're probably just rest their starters.
It'll be funny. Get
They're
swept.
probably gonna rest their starters. Like lose 1 or 2 games here and there. If they come into week 17, I want them to come into week 17 with 13 wins. That's my dream scenario. Come to week 17 with 13 wins, so that's West Side starters. So the Browns can have an easy win in week 17, so we can do playoffs. That's all I'm hoping for. That's all I need. That's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking for, Jesus. That's all I need, Jesus.
At the end of the bye week, we are looking at the Steelers somehow still leading this division with an undefeated 8-0 record. I'm floored that is even a thing, but whatever. Steelers are in the lead 8-0, and they're probably going to win the division at this point. It'd be pretty impressive if the Ravens managed to come back at this point. The Browns and Ravens are actually tied for the second place in division in that 7th playoff spot at a 5-3 record. However,
I think the Ravens got a game on us. I think the Ravens got a game on us right now.
Yeah, the Ravens dominated you guys at the beginning of the season, so that's what it is. That's the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And then the Bengals are 2-5-1. So, but hey, we're looking better.
It could be worse. You could be 2-5-7, which are not going to be. You're going to be 3-5-1.
2-5-7. You 7
I don't
times.
know. But y'all gonna be. I don't know.
Okay. Then.
I bet 2-7-1.
2-7.
Y'all gonna be 3-5-1 after the end of this weekend. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying. Like we got an upset.
We got an
upset coming.
Run at the end of this season, and I don't know if playoffs are really in the cards, just because of how good the AFC, how good the top of the AFC looks this year. I don't know if a playoff run is necessarily in the cards, but I mean, we're going to build something special for a run in 2021. I'm telling you that right now. But anyway, guys, that does it for this episode of the Battle of Ohio podcast, episode 10, right after the bye week. If you want to follow me and Thomas anywhere else, like I said, there will also be a predictions episode that we're about to record right now. And then in addition to that, you can find me at Kyle Phelps 92 on Twitter, facebook.com/thephelps. You can find Thomas on Instagram and Twitter at T_star94.
Yep.
And on YouTube at the Blowdown page, or just Blowdown page. If you like the content, like and subscribe on Twitter. Leave us a comment about anything that you want to see talked about during the show. If you want to come on the show, hit one of us up at any of those social media sites I mentioned, and we'll find a time for you to come on the show. We'll pretty much, we like talking to fans. We like talking to, we'll talk to, people like beat reporters and stuff once we get there eventually, but we're always going to want to talk to fans. We're always going to want to get the fan perspective of what's going on with these two teams and really the rest of the NFL. So, like I said, thank you for watching, and Who Dey?
Go Browns.
Okay.